Welcome back to more security stories. And the Multinational Joint Task Force says its troops and national forces have dealt another heavy blow on Boko Haram terrorists in the ongoing Operation Yansin Tafki in the Lake Chad area. In a statement, the Chief of Military Publicity of the MNJTF, Colonel Timothy Atinga, says the terrorists attacked troops' positions, but the troops killed 39 of the insurgents and captured equipment in the counter-attack. The 20 soldiers who are said to have been wounded in the battle are currently receiving medical attention. The former Peruvian president, Alan Garcia, has died after he shot himself in the head to avoid arrest over bribery allegations. The 69-year-old was rushed to hospital in the capital, Lima, where his death was confirmed by the current president, Martin Vizcarra. Before his death, Mr. Garcia was accused of taking bribes from a Brazilian construction company, claims he denied. Let's get more international news now. Here's Simon Pusey.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom in London. Heavy shelling in the Libyan capital Tripoli has killed at least 4 people. More than 20 others were injured. Khalifa Haftar's Libyan National Army began its assault to take control of the city almost 2 weeks ago. The Prime Minister of the internationally recognized government has described the rocket attacks as barbaric. Climate protesters have caused a third day of disruption in the UK capital. The London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, accused the demonstrators of driving people away from public transport as they targeted trains to spread their message. One man glued his hand to a carriage. More than 300 people have been arrested, and a group representing businesses claims the action has cost firms £12 million.
We're completely non-violent. We don't want to disrupt anyone's lives. We don't want to cause any damage. We don't see any other option right now. You know, the things that we're doing in town that people are on board with, and it's fun, and there's a big pink boat in the middle of Oxford Circus. It's like, great. Will that change anything? Will the government act? So we've got to keep going, we've got to keep pushing. We don't want to do this, but it's the surefire way of getting the debate on the table.
There were clashes in Ecuador as supporters of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange confronted riot police in the capital, Quito. The violence near the presidential palace comes after the country revoked his asylum. Assange was forcibly removed from the embassy in London last week after spending 7 years in hiding. At least 6 people died when a small plane crashed into an empty house in southern Chile. It happened just after the aircraft took off from a private airfield. 5 passengers and a pilot were on board. Investigators are trying to determine the cause. An international architects competition has been launched to rebuild Notre Dame's spire. The French President Emmanuel Macron has vowed to restore the 12th century cathedral to its former glory within 5 years. Hundreds of millions of euros has already been raised to aid the project. Sudan's ousted President Omar al-Bashir has been moved to a maximum security prison. It's thought until now he was being detained under heavy guard at the presidential palace. He's reportedly being held in solitary confinement and is surrounded by tight security. Ukraine's security service says it's captured a Russian military intelligence hit squad. The SBU claims the 8 members were behind the attempted murder of a Ukrainian spy in the run-up to the presidential election on Sunday. 2 are said to be Russian citizens and the others are Ukrainian. The UK has been warned there'll be no trade deal with the US if Brexit undermines peace in Ireland. The Speaker of the US House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, made the comments as she addressed a special sitting of Parliament in Dublin.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. We must ensure that nothing happens in the Brexit discussions that imperils the Good Friday Accord, including but not limited to the seamless border between the Irish Republic and Northern Ireland. If the Brexit deal undermines the Good Friday Accords, there would be no chance of a US-UK trade agreement.
Indonesia's president is on course for re-election. Early results released just hours after polls closed show Joko Widodo ahead of his rival Prabowo Subianto. More than 192 million people were eligible to cast a ballot. Official results aren't expected until next month. An energy crisis has been declared in Portugal. Long queues of cars have been lining up outside petrol stations because of an ongoing strike by fuel truck drivers. The government says it's reached an agreement with those taking industrial action to ensure supplies are delivered to emergency services. And finally, if you haven't heard about them yet, get set to be bombarded because they're about to take the world by storm. South Korean boy band BTS has smashed a YouTube record with a song becoming the most viewed music video debut in the site's history. Their single Boy With Love was watched 74.6 million times in just the first 24 hours. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thanks a lot, Simon. Let's take a look at some sports now. Here's Olumide Macaulay.
Thank you, Ijoma. Hello and welcome to Sports News. The Golden Eaglets of Nigeria edged closer to qualifying for the 2019 FIFA Under-17 World Cup after a 1-0 defeat of Angola at the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations in Dar es Salaam today. Olakunle Olusegun earned the ticket to the tournament semi-finals and to Brazil 2019 when he hooked a 21st minute penalty to the roof of the net with Angola's goalkeeper Giovanni stranded. The win means that the 5-time world champions are set to return to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup after missing out on the last edition in India 2 years ago. As part of activities to mark its 2019 World Tour, the UEFA Champions League trophy visited Lagos today, accompanied by its ambassador, Carlos Puyol, and former Super Eagles captain Austin Okocha. The trophy was received by the chairman of the Lagos State Sports Commission at the State House. Receiving the trophy on behalf of the governor, he says it will ignite the passion and zeal the state has for sports development. To the UEFA Champions League, goals from Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah set Liverpool on their way to a thumping 6-1 aggregate win over FC Porto as they eased into the Champions League semi-finals. Liverpool will face Barcelona in the first leg of their semi-final at the Nou Camp on Tuesday, April the 30th. Tottenham, meanwhile, ended Manchester City's quadruple bid as Fernando Llorente's goal settled a seesawing free-scoring quarterfinal. Tottenham will play Ajax Amsterdam in the last 4. In tennis, Rafael Nadal has begun his bid for a 12th Monte Carlo Masters crown in style in his first match since the Miami Open. The 11-time champion raced past countryman Roberto Bautista Agut 6-1, 6-1 to notch his 69th victory in 73 matches at the opening ATP Masters 1000 event of the European clay swing. Nadal saved each of the 5 break points he faced to advance after 76 minutes. That's it on Sports News. The News at 10 continues with Ijoma.
Thanks a lot, Olumide. And the main news again. The Senate today moved to curb extrajudicial killings and other offences by police officers as it passed the police reform bill and prescribed confirmation of the IGP by the upper chamber. Also today, an Abuja High Court granted the request by the EFCC to arrest former ministers of Petroleum and Justice Danny Tete and Mohamed Adoke, who were implicated in the Malabu oil scandal. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks a lot for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Nyato.